Hello, today I'm going to be talking about porn addiction and understanding what the real problem is when you have this. Now, if you've listened to a lot of my episodes of the Help Us Here podcast before, you probably heard me talk about this kind of thing a lot already. So, you may want to just skip this one. However, I do think this is so important to just wrap your head around and get really clear on. So, there's a really good Albert Einstein quote, which is, if I had an hour to solve a problem, I'd spend 55 minutes thinking about the problem and 5 minutes thinking about solutions. When it comes to porn addiction recovery, in my opinion anyway, 99.99% of people completely misunderstand the problem. And so they are kind of trying all these different solutions that don't really have anything to do with the actual problem. And that's really where they go wrong, as we'll talk about today. This is what I did as well for 10 years because I went online and, I read a ton of books, I tried loads of different therapies out and whatever. None of it worked because I was misunderstanding the problem that I had when I was in the porn addiction. So, if you would like to learn more about how we do things, feel free to take the compulsion test and get a score out of 100, because then I can just give you a call and we can have a chat and see if you'd like to learn the same method that has transformed my life. Now, understanding the problem. You keep engaging in a behaviour that has negative consequences. You want to stop it, right? Obviously, you want to stop it. However, no matter how hard you try, you keep going back and relapsing. What the hell's going on? It's really frustrating. Now, why do you keep going back to it? Other people, especially on the internet, especially on maybe NoFap and porn addiction recovery communities, they kind of believe on some level that their problem is a lack of willpower, a lack of motivation, a lack of discipline, too much stress perhaps. Maybe they feel like it's because they're lonely or they're depressed or it's due to their shame. Or maybe it's because they have a lack of purpose in their life or they haven't solved certain traumas. None of that is the real answer. It's not to do with discipline or any of this stuff at all. That's not the reason that people end up relapsing. The real reason people go back to it is because their mind's involved in a psychological, emotional dependency on a mind mood altering experience. Essentially, addicted neural pathways. Their brain is wired to want to engage in the behaviour, and because they haven't been taught how to deal with that wanting, they act on the desire. That strengthens the addicted neural pathways, and the cycle just goes round and round. Now, most approaches, what they're trying to do is they're trying to get rid of the desire. So, people are focusing on having more willpower, more motivation, more discipline, less stress in their life, more connection, more happiness, less shame, more purpose, and resolving their traumas. And the idea is, for most people, that if we get rid of all the causes of the desire, then we're going to transform. And our life's going to be way better, and now we're not going to want to watch porn anymore. This is wrong. This doesn't work. I literally tried everything on this list. I can't tell you how much stuff I've tried to overcome porn addiction. It was literally 10 years of obsessively focusing on learning about self-improvement stuff. I'm reading, honestly, over 100 books, so much therapy, online courses, podcasts, YouTube videos, different online communities. I tried so much out there, read so many books, as I say, none of it worked. And it's because the approaches didn't understand the real problem. So, neural pathways. You want to engage, you act on the desire. And the way we see things inside the Beyond Compulsion Academy is that we very exclusively focus on that wanting, the wanting to engage in the behaviour. If we can solve that problem of the addicted part of the mind is going to try and get us to engage, and it does it through all these different tactics and strategies, one very small piece of the whole entire jigsaw. If we just focus exclusively on that, we can solve the whole jigsaw and everything just comes together and works seamlessly. So that's what we do. And what we do is we help people experience the desire without acting on it. But we do this in a way where they can actually feel good about the choice. So it isn't just about mindfully observing the urges. This is just about thinking through the choice in a rational, logical way. And we do this with a 5-fact script where you're actually getting connected to the desire, acknowledging that there is the option to go ahead and relapse. There is a reality in the future that could exist where you go ahead and look at the content. We think through the whole choice, acknowledging the truth that acting on the desire is what creates the desire. Relapse is not part of recovery, no matter what all the people who want to make you feel good and get views on YouTube tell you. it isn't true, because relapsing strengthens the addictive neural pathways. So you think through the whole thing with like a really thorough education on how all of this works, and then you get to experience that desire without acting on it. And notice the language I use as well. Like, you get to experience the desire without acting on it. Where most people go wrong is they see this whole thing as like some really exhausting battle, which they have to do. Like, oh, I have to give up porn. Like, oh, this is so hard. Like, such a challenge. You know, this is so uncomfortable. Everything we do is about framing things in a way that actually makes that choice like quite enjoyable. I mean, it is uncomfortable. I'm not gonna like act as if it's like super easy. Like, there's moments where you have strong desires and it feels very, very challenging, I guess, in that specific moment. But you can still reframe it as like, okay, I'm getting to choose this discomfort, and you realize that you're doing it because you're going to get something in return, which is, you know, peace of mind. You're going to get freedom. You're going to get to change your neural pathways. You're going to get to build up self-trust, self-belief. You're going to get integrity. You're going to get so much out of that choice to experience the temporary discomfort. So it really is a lot about, you know, reframing things, but keeping all of that reframing condensed into that exact moment of compulsive desire when you want to engage in the behaviour, dealing with that in a very practical, specific, logical, rational way. That is exactly what we do at the Beyond Compulsion Academy. That is the problem to solve. And if you've tried loads of stuff as well, like myself, but you've not been taught exactly how to think through the choice in a rational way in the moment of compulsive desire, I just want you to know there's nothing wrong with you and that you can overcome this problem. Cheers for listening, and we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.